Hello, it is really nice to meet you all. My name is Amit Chopra, and I am a developer advocate in the open source team at Facebook. This week, as part of our Ask Me Anything series, it is my turn to answer some of the questions we have received from our developer community. For the first video hosted by each of us, in addition to answering your questions, we will also start by sharing a bit about our journey on becoming a developer advocate. This has been a popular question, so we all decided to share our unique experiences and career paths and how we got here. So let's get right into mine. I've now been at Facebook as a developer advocate for just over 6 months at the time of recording this segment. This also is my first role where I officially have a job title of a developer advocate. My journey in tech started almost 25 years ago. For the first couple of years, I mostly programmed microcontrollers in assembly language. Fairly early in my career, I also discovered my passion for writing and found myself contributing tech articles to 5 or 6 leading software publications. Those were the days when there were no blogs, no Medium, really no other online channels. So the only way to do this was the old-fashioned way of writing for magazines. One of my technical product reviews on Visual Basic 3.0 helped me land a role at Microsoft. This was largely a pre-sales evangelist role for one of the most anticipated products at that time, Windows 95. Then a few years later, I found myself with a role of a Java evangelist at Sun Microsystems. While I really enjoyed this role, I wanted to still gain more experience writing commercial applications. So I took up a role in the technology consulting group at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Sydney. Then in year 2000, I joined the developer division at Microsoft as a technical program manager. Our division was responsible for shipping Visual Studio and numerous other developer tools and runtimes. I was in that team for nearly 13 years and gained a lot of experience and deep understanding of the developer ecosystem. In 2013, I decided to relocate to Singapore, where I got the opportunity to lead the developer relations for Google. I spent many years on a variety of outreach programs and initiatives aimed at students, professional developers, software agencies, and startups, further helping me develop my understanding of what developers worldwide need to do to be more productive in their day-to-day jobs and also create successful businesses. Then about 6 months ago, I landed my current role at Facebook as a developer advocate. I'm mostly focused now on advocating open source tools and technologies that we ship in the data and infrastructure pillar. Now on to some questions we curated from our social media channels. The first one, how do you know if the open source project that you're working on is healthy? This is such an interesting question and very close to the heart of every developer advocate on the team. With a portfolio of nearly 600 open source projects that we have shipped, it is very critical to keep a good handle on the health of the project. And this is also not a short one-line answer, certainly a type of question that warrants a much longer discussion. But I can share some top-level things we keep in mind as we think through the health of the projects. At a high level, a healthy open source project is one that is showing steady momentum and progress without a lot of hand-holding by us at Facebook, where the community is deeply engaged in the future direction of the project. There are a number of indicators we monitor to give us a pulse around that. A few that come to mind would be, what is the breakup of internal versus external contributors to the project? How quickly are we accepting pull requests? How many stars, folks, and watchers of the projects? How active are discussions around issues? Who is resolving these issues? And how quickly? Outside of this, we also look at how active the community is around sharing best practices, writing blogs, and tutorials on this subject. Do stay tuned in to have a more deeper discussion on this topic by our team. The next two questions are around career advice. The first one, do I need a computer science degree to get a job at a large tech company? The short answer really is, it depends. Tech companies have a variety of jobs. Some may have some very specific job requirements, which may absolutely need a specific degree or a qualification, and in some, they may accept relevant work experience in lieu of that. Even in development roles, I'm clearly seeing a trend that is moving towards finding people with the right skills and experience versus just looking for a degree. A computer science degree may be a good proxy to indicate a candidate has relevant background, but then having a computer science degree does not automatically land you a job. You will still need to demonstrate the right skills during the interview process, and that's where your experience and aptitude play a very significant role. The second question, with so many new technologies coming out, what do you suggest is the best way to stay up to date? Great question. In the last decade or so, we are literally experiencing an exponential growth and evolution in every technology stack. There are new programming languages, enhancements to new languages, new frameworks, new platforms, new tools, software development methodologies. It can be fairly daunting just to stay abreast with what you know and work on today, let alone trying to learn new stuff with the constant worry of not becoming stuck to a technology that's going to be obsolete soon. As a developer advocate, for us, staying up to date is even more critical as we engage and meet with so many developers across a spectrum of technologies. I don't have a magic bullet on what to do, but I can share what I do. A couple of years ago, I was on my way to work listening to an audiobook by Brian Tracy. One of the quotes I heard in the book went something like, invest 3% of your income in self development and your future is safe. So, what did I do? Unfortunately, no. I didn't really put 3% of my income in learning every year, but I did commit to investing 1 hour a week to learning something new. If you do the math, that is about 4% of my time to learn something new every week. I generally block an hour or two to watch introductory courses on LinkedIn Learning. I keep looking for interesting system design type interview questions on YouTube. In the last 2 weeks, I finished 2 courses, short ones, one on Reason ML and one on Rust programming language. I coded a few simple samples, wrote a few lines of code, made myself feel just comfortable enough so that if I need to have a discussion with someone on the subject, I can. For staying up to date on business trends in technology, I count on a few podcasts. Tech Meme Ride Home is one that I listen almost every day on my way home from work. In about 20 minutes, I get a good feel of what's happening in the tech industry. I also always prefer to roll up my sleeves on learning new products, installing them, trying hands-on lab, writing some code. That's anything that makes me feel more comfortable with technology. These days, there are just so many amazing resources out there. If I reflect back on the days when I first started to learn programming, we just had to depend on a handful of books that were available to us, and whatever compilers or IDEs our machines literally came pre-installed with. Okay, here is a question around Presto. What is the best way to try Presto? It seems like it may take a lot of effort to set it up. Okay, before I answer that, for those of you who may not be familiar with Presto, Presto is one of the open source projects that was released by Facebook and is a very, very powerful distributed SQL query engine that can practically run blazing fast queries on petabytes of data or almost any type of data structure. When I joined Facebook and started to explore Presto, I actually found that one of the quickest way to get started was with a Docker image that we had released during the F8 conference last year. It has a Presto cluster, a MySQL and a MongoDB instance that you can quickly query from Presto. By far the quickest way to get started. I have shared the link and the description to the repo in the description below. Do give it a try. Saving the best question for the last. Why did I have a feeling this was coming? Perhaps a similar memory from about 10 years ago. I was presenting at an ALM conference. After my talk, I opened up for a Q&A session, fully prepared to tackle any hard question about the product we had just announced. And the first question that came my way, are you related to Deepak Chopra? And here we are a decade later, I get asked, are you related to Priyanka Chopra? Unfortunately, the answer is no in both the cases. Well, thank you all for joining me in the Ask Me Anything session. I hope to reconnect with you again in the coming weeks. Till then, take care and stay healthy. Bye-bye.